Hello and welcome. Thank you for watching the Grand Marais Miracle. The word miracle might be a little overstated, but it sounded good at the time. My name is Don Mordal and I work for ThermaRay-USA. In this short presentation, I will show you how we retrofitted the Grand Marais home with a ThermaRay electric radiant heating system. Let's start with a little background first though. We received a call from a couple who purchased a 2,000 square foot slab-on-grade home built in the late 1960s. Just outside of Grand Marais, Minnesota. The town of Grand Marais is located on the north shore of Lake Superior, within 50 miles of the Canadian border. Grand Marais is a beautiful area and sometimes looks like this. And quite oftentimes it looks like this. But a lot of the times it looks like this. Frigid, cold, stiff winds coming off the lake. The house was really well built, but as you can see, extremely dated. Along with some other issues, the home was suffering from a mostly failed and failing heating system. The existing heating system was a combination of mostly electric surface-mounted ceiling panels and a couple of electric baseboard heaters. It is a very unique and eclectic home, with the main area in the shape of an octagon and odd-angled rooms throughout the entire home. As you can see by the floor plan, the main octagon area and all the angled rooms throughout the house. The red arrows indicate the existing thermostats. There were 11 of them. 11 ugly and dated thermostats. Now, don't get me wrong, 11 thermostats isn't the bad part. We agree with having zoning and each individual room having its own control. It actually helps keep operating costs down. If you're not using a particular room, you can close the door, turn the thermostat down, and you don't have to worry about that square footage. And everybody has a different level of comfort, so having a different thermostat in each area gives everybody the ability to control their own comfort level. The ceiling panels are hard to see in this picture, but trust me, when you're in the home, they are very visible. There were a variety of sizes throughout the home, as well as some poorly placed and horribly inefficient baseboard heaters. Now don't get me wrong, I recommend our heating panels in the ceiling all the time. They are fantastic and incredibly energy efficient. I just don't want to see them, and ours are invisible, and come with a lifetime warranty. I will explain the invisible part shortly. Now you may be asking yourself, why would anybody buy such a project? Outdated flooring, countertops, cabinets, appliances, outdated bathrooms and old linoleum floors, nasty carpets throughout most of the house, including the hallway and bedrooms. The reason, I guess, well, mostly I should say more specifically, because this is their view, which is less than 50 feet from the back door. And this one as well. As they say, location, location, location. And who knows, maybe they like to do this. Apparently a lot of this goes on up there too. The bottom line though is that the homeowners were looking for options to not only replace the existing heating system, but also to provide an energy efficient, warm, comfortable solution for years to come. Back to the invisible part I mentioned. Our first recommendation for the homeowners was to remove their existing ceiling heaters and place furring strips every 24 inches on center, and then install the ThermaRay radiant ceiling panels in between the furring strips. After the heating panels are wired, a new layer of sheetrock is screwed to the furring strips, creating a completely concealed invisible heating system. Quiet, comfortable, healthy, and invisible. However, everyone always says, why do you put heat in the ceiling if hot air rises? Well, it's true hot air does rise, but radiant heat travels in a straight line like a flashlight light. It goes out until it hits something that it can absorb that heat. Kind of like the sun. When you walk from the shade to the sun on a cool day, you feel those radiant rays immediately. And that's exactly what it's like to have a radiant ceiling system in your home. For new construction, the install is even easier. You place strapping along the bottom sides of the trusses, lay the heating panels in between the trusses on top of the strapping, wire the panels together, then you can place sheetrock, tongue and groove, wood ceiling, steel, metal ceilings, it doesn't matter. Any ceiling system will work with our radiant ceiling system. After talking more with the homeowners, we found out that they were going to replace all of their flooring. They were going to take out the tile, the linoleum, the carpet. So then we offered them another option, which would be to put tile warming cable down on the existing concrete floor. They loved the idea, so that's what they decided to do. So that's what they did. They had all the tile removed, the carpeting was all pulled up, and they took out the linoleum as well. Sometimes you can leave the linoleum in and put the cable right over that, but in this case it was so bad that they had that torn out anyway. So what does a floor warming system look like? The ThermaRay floor cable system consists of a spool, or in this case many spools, of floor heating cable, 25-foot rolls of spacing strips, floor sensor, and a thermostat. We were able to reduce their thermostats from 11 down to 8. And we can use different types of thermostats with our heating system as well. They're all programmable and digital with a very modern design. The homeowners decided to go with this thermostat instead. Also very good thermostat. Plastic, plastic, plastic. The spacing strip is 5/32 of an inch tall and very easy to cut with a scissors or utility knife. Most installers prefer the ThermaRay spacing strips simply because it makes the installation easier and faster. However, one of the most important aspects of any floor warming system is to be sure to use plastic spacing strips and not metal. ThermaRay spacing strips have slots in them every inch to make the spacing of the cable very simple. Metal spacing strips and floor heating cable is not a good combination, so no matter what you put in, insist on plastic. The ThermaRay cable spools are manufactured to cover from 12 to 275 square feet. The heating elements come with a 10-foot cold lead on both ends, and as you can see with the toothpick, ThermaRay has the lowest profile in the industry. Depending on the model number, the heating elements are a 1/16 to an 1/8 inch in diameter. They come in 120 and 240 volt sizes, but other voltages are available upon request. I always say insist on single. A single conductor system like ThermaRay manufactures is the strongest and best system on the market today. So whether you use our system or not, always insist on a single conductor instead of a dual conductor system. Awesome flexibility. As you can see from the layout of this particular project, there are numerous angles to deal with, and with a ThermaRay system, it's very simple. The spacing strips are placed on opposing sides of the area to be heated, typically 3 to 6 inches from the wall, depending on whether the returning end of the cable needs to come back through this area. Once the cable is down, it is important to affix the cable to the floor as well, so that when you self-level or trowel the thin set over the cable, the heating element stays tight to the floor. Otherwise, the element will have a tendency to raise to the top. This can be done in a number of ways, but hot glue is a very simple and easy solution. As you can see in the next few slides, because of all the angles, this one is one of the more complicated installations that you'll ever see. Numerous angles and lots of long runs. Still all very simple to do with the flexibility of the ThermaRay floor cable system. You can see in this picture as well that placing tape over the cable to keep it tight to the floor will work as well. Each cable spool has a marker at the halfway point to let you know where you're at and help make sure you can cover the entire area. The most recommended spacing is usually 3 inches on center, so that if you're running out of room, you can go to 2 inches on center to take up some of the cable. If it looks like you have more room than cable, then you can go to 4 inches on center. 2 inches is the closest that you can be together. You don't want to be any closer than that. And if you're trying to use this as a primary heating source, you want to use as much 2-inch on spacing center that you can to get more watts per square foot into the area. Because of the low profile of our system, you can actually thin set directly over the top of our cable and place your tile. They decided to go with the self-leveling concrete because they had some issues with the floor being level anyway. When you're putting our heating system over existing concrete and using self-leveling, we usually only need a 1/4 inch to 3/8 of an inch. Because of some areas that had some issues on their floor, they decided to go with a 1/2 inch to cover the whole area. Once the self-leveling is completely cured and dry, it's ready for virtually any type of floor covering. Tile, marble, granite, engineered wood, laminates, linoleum, just about anything, even cork you can put down over our heating system. However, if you were putting down a real wood floor, you need furring strips. So this is basically how a heating system would look with a real wood floor. These homeowners decided to go with tile throughout the entire house. An anti-fracture membrane was put down on top of the self-leveling concrete, and then they're going to place their thin set and tile directly over the top of that. There's also an anti-fracture membrane called an uncoupling membrane, where it has slots for the heating cable itself. And our system will work with any uncoupling membrane as well. Well, now we're ready for tile, and I mean lots of tile. So once again, here's the before, and here's the after. Only now the heating system for the entire home is completely concealed and provides the best comfort you can buy, which is especially important on the North Shore of Lake Superior. A warm tile also feels like a soft tile. It's hard to explain unless you experience it personally, but it's amazing. Once again, here's the before in the living room, and here's the after. You can also see, if you look closely at the outside wall at the top, those ugly surface mount ceiling heaters have been removed as well. All the baseboards were removed, and the floor heating system now is the primary heat source throughout the entire heating season. Most importantly, you can see the beautiful view out the windows. A bonus is that it keeps your pizza warm and the red wine at the perfect temperature as well. Thanks again for watching, and please feel free to contact us anytime at 800-506-7973, or check out all our other products at www.ThermaRay-USA.com. Thanks again, and have a warm day. Go Radiant!